Alrighty everyone, welcome to this webinar today, and we're going to talk about hosting your e-commerce business, and today is April 18th. A bit of housekeeping before we get started. Today's webinar is going to last for about an hour. All of the participants will be muted until the end of the presentation. If you do have any questions, you can submit those via the questions screen, and we'll combine the questions and address them as they come up. And then afterwards, we're going to have a question and answer forum, so you'll be able to ask any questions of anything that we don't cover. And after this webinar, we are going to send a follow-up survey, so fill it out and let us know how we did. Your presenters today are myself, Allegra Mitchell, and Bob Allard from Right Networks. So, the agenda for today, we're going to talk about Right Networks. Well, Bob is going to talk about Right Networks. He's going to give a little overview about what the Right Networks solution provides. We're going to talk about how the hosted platform enables flexible business management. And I know we do have a lot of accountants here on the webinar today, so we can also address those questions in terms of a good business solution for your clients. And then I'm going to go into our company, Webgility, and ECC and what it is, and a brief overview about the different components of ECC. And then I'm going to go in and out of the demo and show you ECC within the Right Networks integration. And then I'll go over some points of the overview, and if you have if any of the listeners has any questions pertaining to a particular feature for your client, definitely ask me and I can show that within the Right Networks integration. And then we're going to have a question and answer open forum. So I'm going to turn it over to Bob, and he's going to talk about the Right Networks integration.
Thanks, Allegra. Welcome, everyone. We are basically, Right Networks is known for QuickBooks hosting, and we are headquartered in Hudson, New Hampshire, and I'm actually located out in Tucson, Arizona. We have a sales office out here. It was co-founded back in 2002 by John Ferrer and Phil Romine, and then John is a renowned infrastructure architect, actually hosted the Verizon Yellow Page systems with a very small staff, and they hosted over 30,000 users. That's just a staff of around 7, which has really enhanced our ability to be scalable. And then Phil is a established software engineer and has written a virtualization solution that has also helped our overall way we host and infrastructure to be a very scalable solution. We have 50,000 plus clients worldwide. 3,000 plus accounting firms, mostly using our hosted desktop with QuickBooks, although we have hundreds of other applications, and we have 130,000 plus data files that we're hosting today. Those of you that aren't familiar with application hosting, I mean, basically there's traditional computing where you're running your applications and files and data files locally, and then application hosting was where it's basically up in the cloud, in this case on our fully redundant, fully clustered environment, our server farm in our multiple data centers, and then it's backed up nightly for a rolling 90 days, and then you access it with a remote desktop. And this pretty much gives you kind of the look of what it would feel like. So you have, you can access the same files by your clients or your accounting firm, or if you're a franchise. Basically, everybody can get into the same information at the same time, like it's a local network. And then we have multiple tiers to handle that and multiple redundancies. Again, these are benefits here. Obviously, the freedom, anywhere, anytime access, that's what people generally come to the hosting for. It allows you to have, obviously, higher staff productivity across the board, and then, not focus so much on, keeping your software up and running, because we're doing all the upgrades and updates for you. and then it also boosts your efficiency through your improved focus, which is pretty much what we're talking about here. I mean, it's instead of focusing on your IT infrastructure, you can focus on your clients and customers. And then in addition to just the anywhere and anytime access, this provides you a business continuity plan. We've had quite a few people that have come to us after natural disasters like Hurricane Katrina or fires, floods, whatever, they actually have saved their servers, brought them to us, and we've had them up and running within a couple days, and then they've stuck with us for obvious reasons. And then of course it's a low monthly fee, so it's predictable costs. You don't have to worry about your server going down. All of a sudden you have a huge outlay of cash for your servers, or you have to pay some outsourced IT or an IT staff that you would have to maintain yourself. So basically it's a virtual desktop, a hosted desktop if you will, and you have a login to that desktop, and the administrative rights are generally owned by one or two individuals within the organization, and you can control who sees what files. And then it's easy to remove access for terminated employees or add access for new employees. You get access to multiple versions of QuickBooks, so as long as it's a supported version, currently 2010 through 2012, you could actually have all 3 versions, Pro, Premier, and Enterprise, on your desktop from all 3 years at the same time with no additional cost. And then of course you can pursue clients not just locally but regionally, nationally, and internationally. As I stated earlier, that we actually allow you unlimited space for your QuickBooks company files, and then we do a nightly offsite backup for a rolling 90 days. So if you were to have any issues with poor data entry in the past 90 days, you could have that file restored, and that's all part of the service. It's no additional fee for that. And then this is just a brief comparison of the desktop product, which is what we host, but obviously if it's a desktop product it's pretty limited on the anywhere anytime access and all the other typical features of a SaaS app like QuickBooks Online. But then of course QuickBooks Online is limited, and then it just doesn't have the features or integration capabilities of QuickBooks desktop products. So this is kind of the best of both worlds. So I'll go ahead and pass this over to Allegra, and we can talk about ECC and Webgility.
Thank you so much, Bob. So Webgility, who we are. Webgility is an Intuit Gold certified software company, and ECC is the software that we have created. It integrates with over 25 online shopping carts and marketplace platforms, as well as integrates with major shipping processors, also hosted solutions. ECC is compatible with all PC editions of QuickBooks, QuickBooks Point of Sale, and QuickBooks Online. We also have customers in the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, and South Africa. And we have offices in San Francisco, where I am located, as well as Indore, India. And we have over 40 members of the Webgility team bringing ECC to you every day. ECC means e-commerce connector, and so I'm going to talk about ECC and Right Networks and how with these two integrations you can bring everything together. So the current workflow of your clients is that you have your online store. It could, it's on the internet. It could be in the cloud, so it could be hosted. And you've got shipping, and you've got QuickBooks. So here's your QuickBooks here, and from the online store you have to ship orders, and then also you have to get those online orders into QuickBooks somehow. And if you're doing this, if your clients are doing this manually, all this can be very time consuming. Within how to manage your e-business within ECC and Right Networks. So this green dotted line represents the Right Networks integration. And so ECC and your QuickBooks, as you know, are contained within this area. So ECC within the Right Networks integration can communicate with your online store. Your clients can process shipping labels, and send information from the shipping processor back into ECC, and then ultimately into QuickBooks as particular transactions. And ECC can also communicate back to the online store shipping information that about a particular order. And so your clients can keep their customers informed, as well as access ECC and QuickBooks within the Right Networks integration. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ECC itself. So ECC is a desktop software that sits on the local network where QuickBooks is located. And in terms of Right Networks, it's going to be hosted all within the Right Networks solution. And ECC also uses Microsoft SQL Server. All of those things come with ECC, and therefore they're within the Right Networks integration. And Right Networks has security measures in place, as does ECC. So, your clients will have that added security of their QuickBooks being secure, as well as their online store and orders information secure and encrypted. And since we're talking about the Right Networks integration, you know the different versions of QuickBooks that can be used with that, Pro, Premier, Enterprise. And so for the shipping solutions, even though ECC does work with, FedEx, UPS, and WorldShip and Direct, you can utilize within the Right Networks integration USPS Dyno and Disha label server and also UPS Direct. So it allows your clients to be able to utilize these shipping solutions without being tied down to a particular software. So now I'm gonna go through a demo. I'm gonna go in and out of these presentation slides and go into ECC and show you ECC within the Right Network solution. So first, I want to talk a little bit about how ECC connects to the online store. It's a very fast and secure connection. And so what's done first is creating a store profile within ECC. And all this is done within the Right Networks environment. And so you can easily, select your company file location, put that into the connection area within ECC, and ECC will be linked to your QuickBooks. And now the connection for the online stores. So as you know, or if you don't know, online stores have different requirements for connection. A hosted solution such as with this slide is showing it's showing a hosted solution within BigCommerce. So BigCommerce it doesn't need the store module, but a store module is used for the communication between ECC and the online store. So that information is put in this area. Once the connection is established, ECC is then connected directly to the online store. Now, to assist the customer or your clients in configuring ECC and setting up their store profile within ECC, we have a configuration wizard that takes them through each of the screens used to establish this unique connection between the specifications in QuickBooks as well as the unique specifications in the online store for a complete integration. Now, ECC, the e-commerce connector, is used for order fulfillment. So it's the answer to the question of how do I get my online orders into QuickBooks without having to manually create a transaction every time. So ECC has different steps to processing orders. You can download orders with one click. You can process shipping. You can process orders one at a time, or you can process orders and ship orders in a batch for bulk shipping labels. You can also do partial shipping. That's actually a new feature we are releasing very, very soon, and that feature allows your clients to partially ship. Let's say someone creates an order for 5 items, and your client only has 3. They can ship those 3, and those 2 items will be kind of dangling there. And so now we have a way for actually shipping, creating 2 different shipments within one order based on the items available. And then after that order is shipped, you would post to QuickBooks either as a sales receipt, invoice, sales order, or an estimate. And also you can reconcile your accounts that way as well. If you also have clients that are using Amazon, there is a way to import expenses and fees into QuickBooks and reconcile those expenses and fees when that report is generated by Amazon. So you can definitely take care of that. And then the final step is posting to store. Now, posting to store sends the information, the shipping information, from ECC to the online store. So it allows your clients to communicate to the customer about when their order is shipping. Also, if your clients are using UPS Direct and Indicia Label Server, they're able to track their shipments, void shipments, all within the ECC interface. So now, before I go into the products, I'm going to show you ECC within the Right Networks environment. So here is ECC within this Right Networks environment here. Before I kind of show you some different features in terms of order management and order fulfillment, are there any questions about any of the features that I talked about so far? Okay, no questions. This has been a quiet class. That's okay. I do expect some questions though. So this is the ECC interface. So when your clients log in, they'll be greeted with this particular interface. So this is what we call the dashboard. And so here is the Get Orders area here. And so this is the one click to get orders, and then the new orders are viewed here. So you can see which orders have been paid for. I do know that a lot of clients of ours do utilize the payment processor function, but they like to have their payment processor process payment directly within the online store. That can be done too. Also, if I do know that this is a particular use case. If your clients prefer to process payment after an order is shipped, they can do that too. As long as they're using Authorize.net or PayPal, they can have ECC send the payment to the particular payment processor after an order has been shipped. So, ECC is able to adapt to those unique use cases. Oh, I do have a question. Here's a question. Does ECC with Right Networks interface with CRM such as Method Integration while utilizing QuickBooks at the same time? That's a great question. At this time, ECC, it has a type of CRM built into it, but it's dependent on the interaction with the cart. So we have a customer module. You're able to view your customers within your online store and in your QuickBooks, and depending on the type of cart that you have, you're able to transfer customers from your online store. So let's say they're wholesale customers and you want to transfer them over into QuickBooks in one batch, you can do that. In terms of kind of tracking the customers, tracking, making some type of report, a sales report of particular customers, ECC doesn't do that just yet. Usually, for those bits of reporting, we depend on QuickBooks to get that information for us. If a customer wants some type of CRM light management.
Yeah.
But
And Allegra, I can also kind of speak to that. So, I mean, QuickBooks integrates with Method in the Right Networks environment. So anything that ECC can put into QuickBooks will transfer over to Method. So that's pretty much, I think, answers the question you're looking for. But if it doesn't, let us know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Bob. Does Intuit Merchant Services work with this? That's a great question, and the answer is yes. And let me show you where Intuit Merchant Services works with ECC in terms of processing payments and things. So that's within the configuration and in the payments screen. So if you're using ECC to process offline payments, in this term you would use QuickBooks Merchant Services to to send, so an order will come into ECC and you can use QuickBooks Merchant Services and send that order, that authorized amount, to QuickBooks Merchant Services. Also, another use case for QuickBooks Merchant Services is that if a customer would prefer the merchant service to process payments in their online store, that merchant service has to be integrated within the online store, and then ECC is kind of out of it at that point. Also, with the merchant service, and I've seen this with a lot of point of sale customers. So they'll have one merchant service channel strictly for their point of sale, and then their question is, well, can I just use that same channel to process my online orders? And usually the answer is no. You got to have one channel per, per integration. Is it, if it's, with QuickBooks Point of Sale, is one channel for merchant service, and then have a separate channel for online orders. So yes, ECC can work with the QuickBooks Merchant Services. Thank you for that question. I see I have some other questions. What shopping cart does it work with? Tim, can you give me a little, a bit more information about what it is? Yes, you can use both. Well, I have another question here. Can I use both PayPal and Intuit? Um, hmm. Yes. Let's say you're using, QuickBooks, merchant service for one channel, let's say for your point of sale or something like that, and you want to use PayPal strictly for the online store and strictly for, the integration within ECC, within Right Networks. Yes, you can do that. So you don't have to have, two channels of the merchant service. Thank you for that question. Oh, I have another question. It says I'm using a trial. Yes, I am. A heavily unlocked trial. Is it fully functional, and for what time frame can it be used? That's a great question, and I'll show you this here. So here's a subscription plan here at the lower right hand area of the dashboard. Yes, the trial is fully functional. Your clients will be able to ship out orders, communicate with the online store, do everything, a user is able to do with an ECC. However, during the trial, there are a few restrictions, such as the amount of products you can sync between ECC and your online store, and that's 50. And for the orders that you can process about 100 orders within the trial. And the trial is for 15 days. So, if a customer, and we also have resources for trial customers, if any trial customer has a question, or if they need to be shown how to do a particular function, they can always call into our customer service line and either talk to myself or my associate on this line and be shown how to do a particular feature, or how to do this, or show me where this is. So we definitely have a lot of resources in terms of our knowledge base or video library. So you won't feel like you're alone within this trial. And if any of your clients do need a little bit more time, they can always reach out to us, and we can talk about an extension in case they need it. Thank you for those questions. I've got another question. Oh, gotcha. What shopping carts does it work with? Okay. Yes, it works with Volusion. Yes, it works with Magento. So for all of those shopping carts, I can actually bring up our website and show you all the shopping carts it does integrate with. So let me just get that prepared right now. Just one moment. So here's our website, and I'm going to go to our compatibility. So here's our compatibility area. So here are all the shopping carts that ECC works with. As you can see, it's quite a bit, and we just added shop, SHOPP. So that integration is going to be released with our newest release in a few days or so. So here's all the carts. There's a mix of marketplaces, hosted solutions such as BigCommerce, and Pinnacle Cart is a hosted solution. We've got several open source solutions such as Virtue Mart and ZenCart here. And here are all the additions of those particular carts that ECC integrates with. And here's Magento. So to answer your question, Tim, here's Magento. It integrates with the Community Edition and Enterprise Edition, and also for Volusion Gold and Platinum plans. All right. So do I have any other questions before I show? So I'm going to show you. I'm not sure if you're kind of concerned about the shipping things. Here's how an order is shipped. It's you mark it, you choose it, and then you go to the process shipping area, and then you ship that particular order, and it is changed from unshipped to shipped here. And so now I'm going to show you posting to QuickBooks. Since most of you guys are accountants, I know that you're quite you definitely want to see the posting to QuickBooks function. So before I do that, I'm going to show you the configuration and show you what I am creating. So in this transactions, I'm creating a sales receipt. And if I need to set up that, these are settings that are taken directly from QuickBooks. So now that I have those saved, it's fine. And each of these settings are different depending on the transaction that's selected. Also, you can decide, the numbering, the transaction date. Sometimes instead of the order date, I like to do the posting to QuickBooks date. But that's, I have a test cart and things happen. So, the posting to QuickBooks date works for me. For clients who are using this, I find that they most likely use the order date. And so also you can display certain details on the transaction, which I personally like, and I do advise our customers to do that as well. So you can display shipment details, payment details, customer comments, and order notes. And in this area here, enable ECC to post orders multiple times to QuickBooks. This is something that a lot of this feature was based on feedback that we got from a lot of clients. So, for example, for the trial, you can use, let's say, a dummy company file. But then when you purchase the software, let's say you want to use your real data. Now, how do you've posted all these orders to QuickBooks, but you want to post them again because you were using a dummy file. You can now post, those would be fresh orders that you could post to QuickBooks. But let's say that you're using, let's say, QuickBooks Ship Manager, or you are creating invoices with purchase orders, and you haven't shipped out the order yet because of course you're making, like a sales order or a purchase order or an invoice, something that has to await payment, or something that has to await something. So what you can do is that when that item comes in and you eventually ship that item, you can post that order to QuickBooks again, but not create a second transaction, but merely update that information on that transaction that was already created. So you definitely have a way of maintaining data or updating data on a particular transaction. I do have a question. I'll take this question before I move on. I have a question here. Does this work with the advanced inventory in the enterprise solution? I'll actually segue to that. That's actually a great question, and I'll talk about that when I go into the product module. So I'm going to hold that question, but it definitely address that in a moment. All right, so I'm going to be creating a sales receipt within QuickBooks. So I'm going to go to my new orders area. I'm going to pick an order that has been shipped. First, let me check those details. I see I have, here's my payment information, which I will display. Also my shipment information, which I will display. So now I'm going to post this order to QuickBooks. During this process, it's always a good idea to keep the QuickBooks company file open. So now I'm going to post this to QuickBooks. It's in the process of posting. So the connection between ECC and QuickBooks is that of an admin user. So with these admin permissions, ECC has the credentials to create a record within ECC. And this is actually a prompt that happens when you have a missing item. So a missing item would be an item that is in your online store, but you haven't added it to QuickBooks. So this is a little bit going into the inventory or product management that we have built into ECC. So I'm going to create this particular product within my QuickBooks right now, and then I'm going to resume posting to QuickBooks. So I can either create this new item or map it within existing items. Now all this information it's grabbing from QuickBooks. So this is that deep integration with QuickBooks I was referring to. So you have your prices here. Let's see, I want to say my quantity on hand is this, a particular asset account. It's going here. Let's go ahead and create this item. So in terms of kind of inventory management, ECC is able to, here is this item that is now created. And now I can resume posting to QuickBooks, now that we have all items accounted for. So in terms of inventory management, there always must be a kind of a one-to-one ratio between the item in the online store and the item in QuickBooks. So when that order is created in QuickBooks, it ties directly into the price of that item, whether that item is a taxable item, and the particular account it goes to. So here it is, it's posted. I also created a new customer. So this is another aspect of kind of CRM management light. I don't want to call it a CRM quite yet, but you can create new customers if a customer is not found within QuickBooks. Or you can use a standard customer. I usually suggest a standard customer for clients that get, let's say, 200 orders a day because of that data limit within QuickBooks. So creating a standard customer and then putting transactions under that customer is a way of keeping that data limit down, especially if they're using Pro or Premier. So here it is. I created sales receipt number 4, and I can also view that in QuickBooks. So I'm going to click View in QuickBooks. It's going to bring up my QuickBooks and magically show you the transaction. Here's my QuickBooks, and it's retrieving. So here is the order in QuickBooks. So as you can see, here's my sales receipt number 4. Here's my customer. Here's my item, the shipping charge here. The shipping charge is a line item here, $10, which is a non-taxable item. The shipping method requested, the payment method, and also this in-state tax area. As you all know, that this is the general ledger area. So ECC is able to tell QuickBooks calculate the taxes, and then the taxes will pop into this area here, which can be retrieved within a report for the general ledger. And they also taxes can also be put in as a line item, which doesn't pop into the general ledger. So our clients have two choices as to how they want this information into QuickBooks, and they usually revert to however the accountant wants the data into QuickBooks for that particular option. So in terms of like taxes and things like that, I usually advise customers to talk to their accountant about how that should be structured for them. Online, I have another question. Online sales is your asset account in the item. Is this the inventory item in QuickBooks? So that asset account, when you're creating an item in QuickBooks, and actually that brings me to a really good point here. Let's go back into our ECC and show you that integration within the product module. So I can show you how all that is structured. Okay, let me close out QuickBooks here. Okay. Oops. There we go. Alrighty. So now when we're in our product module, here's our products, and then here's our transferring our products. So when I'm transferring a product to QuickBooks, it's looking at my online store products. So let's say I want to transfer this product here. Now I can decide on a different COGS account, asset account, income account. And, you know, these asset accounts are coming directly from QuickBooks. So, you know, if you want another asset account, and these are put in there by default. Usually if an asset account is not there, it usually goes into the undeposited funds. So as you know, you can create different accounts in your chart of accounts, and ECC locks directly into that information. So when you're creating a product in QuickBooks from the online store, you can choose, what COGS account you want it to be sent to, the asset account and income account it should be, debited from, or you know, credited to. So as well as tax codes and a preferred vendor, if there is one. So and so that is how ECC communicates directly with QuickBooks. Now I did hear that question about the advanced inventory management within QuickBooks Enterprise. So ECC does not communicate with that advanced inventory because ECC has its own kind of product management within its software. So you're able to, transfer products from from your online store to QuickBooks, and vice versa, depending on the cart integration you have. And you're able to, for the partial ship, you're able to, pull out, items that are available, and ECC is able to, count how many items are left within that order to ship. You are able to, so let's see, you're able to view the products. So here are my products in my QuickBooks. Here's the product I just created, and here are the products in my online store. You're able to, as I mentioned, transfer products. You're able to synchronize products. Now, synchronizing products is the process of deciding, okay, where is the master inventory record for my products? And usually customers say, okay, I'm going to use QuickBooks as my master inventory. And so therefore they can update the online store product at the price or quantity or both level, and make sure that their QuickBooks quantity match the online store quantity. So those two aspects can be in sync. And also you can map products together. So you can map missing products. So all of these items are in my online store and they're missing from QuickBooks. So let's say I wanted to map an item. So if a customer or orders this particular shirt, I really wanted to map with let's say this purple bottle here, and I can map product, and that means if a shirt is purchased, it really means this purple bottle here, and then it's mapped there. So that is the type of product management we have within ECC. I do have some more questions. Let's see. Can you print out the message that you just had up on the screen? Jody, which message are you referring to? Are you referring to the message that ECC brought up when it was posting the orders to QuickBooks? That talks about the mismatch in ECC. Okay, so that pop-up will trigger. I can actually bring up that pop-up again, and that's triggered when a missing item is not in QuickBooks. So let's see. Let's see with this item, make sure I don't have this one. Oh yeah, I know I don't have that one here. So I can also post to QuickBooks if an order is not shipped. I can also post. It says, it'll bring up a note sometimes saying, you haven't shipped this yet. Do you still want to post it? Sure. So here it is. It's posting. And so this message that you saw we call that a prompt. And that prompt is for, so let's say you have your missing item and it's in your online store but not in your QuickBooks. If you've chosen that prompt to notify you while you're posting to QuickBooks, then you'll receive this particular prompt while you're posting. So it's still in the process of posting. The prompt should pop up in a moment. Do I have any questions in the meantime? But the prompt will say, here it is, some orders have an item mismatch. Click OK to create or replace the mismatch items. And then that takes you directly to the item management, or this item creation area here we have, and you see that it's not found in QuickBooks. These items are not found. Now if you were doing this to mini orders, all of the orders would tier here on the left side, and you'll be able to choose an order and add them one by one. You can get rid of this prompt. Let me show you the you have several options. If you want the prompt, you can have the prompt. If you don't want the prompt, but you know that, okay, if something's missing, just create it automatically, you can do that here. And you can set it up by these terms of a newly created item, an automatically created item, so you won't receive that prompt. Or you can use a standard product and then choose the standard product you want created when there's a missing item, or you can flag the entire order as an error, so you can kind of have a more of a intricate hands-on experience with that particular order. Or you may want to assess, hey, why isn't this in QuickBooks? So ECC kind of definitely allows you to have as much control as you want over transferred items. So I like to keep the prompt. I usually tell clients to keep the prompt until they get the hang of it, or if all of their products have the same kind of specifications in terms of accounts, asset accounts, COGS accounts, inventory accounts, and they know exactly what's going on, then they can move over to the automatically create, and then they'll kind of know where to modify that data within the QuickBooks area. And one other thing I want to show you is the automation. So, let's say, your clients are using this and they're like, gosh, I really want a way to just, automatically make sure all this stuff is done and not have to press this Get Orders tab every time. So ECC definitely has a way to do that, and we call that the scheduler. And so here's the scheduler here. The scheduler, you can activate the scheduler by pressing the scheduler button. Now the scheduler, what's really good about it is that it runs separately from the software. So if the software is closed, and here's the scheduler pop up here, if the software is closed, this scheduler will continue to automate, and it will continue to automate within the Right Networks integration. As you know, within the Right Networks integration, if you leave it idle, it's able to be left idle for 3 hours. So you may want to time this scheduler kind of within that time frame here. So you're able to automatically get new data from either the online store or from QuickBooks. Let's say you've got a client that's constantly creating new items in their QuickBooks because their QuickBooks is their master database for their items. You can do that here. ECC will periodically check between 1 and 24 hours. Other data, so accounts and then customers if they're loading in customers. So ECC is able to look at the online store and QuickBooks. Now, this is one thing that ECC does best, and it addresses the question of how can I just download these orders and post these to QuickBooks. So you can do this within this automation. You can download orders every 1 minute, and you can post to QuickBooks every, let's say, 5 minutes is the minimum for that. And the scheduler has certain kind of quirks to it. Certain things need to be in the right place or activated in a particular way to be, successfully posted to QuickBooks. But, a lot of customers, they like they don't have to do things within the, step 1, step 2, step 3. ECC is meant to kind of bend itself to an already established workflow. It's just supposed to fit in where it can fit in, and not cause a client to have to restructure their entire way of doing business. So here's how we can get around that. So there are different settings. So if you just want to, just as soon as you download an order, post it directly to QuickBooks, you can leave off the restriction of it must be shipped. And I usually suggest this particular option if a customer is a multi-channel seller, so they're selling on Amazon, eBay, and let's say another shopping cart, and they want to make sure all of their inventory matches everywhere. So this type of automation is something that I also suggest, because as soon as quantities, or as soon as an order is posted to QuickBooks, that quantity is deducted, and then that quantity can be reflected on all of the channels within 15 minutes. So this is where I come to the product scheduler. So this is the product scheduler, and it can be synced every 15 minutes. So this is pretty much the synchronized product function within this automation area. And so you can decide what to update. If you're using QuickBooks as your master inventory area, you can update your online store product at the other price, quantity, or both every 15 minutes. So this is the type of automation, the robust automation that ECC can do within this Right Network solution as well. Also, there's notifications. So as the scheduler is working, notifications will pop up and say, oh, I've got ECC has grabbed 5 orders, or ECC has posted 3 orders to QuickBooks. So you can definitely do that. One of the things that the scheduler can do is you can make the scheduler a startup item. So when you start up, the Right Networks integration, the scheduler will automatically engage and begin to perform the requested automations, as well as enable an automatic backup of the ECC database. Your clients may not need to use this because Right Networks backs up everything within itself. So this is a nice option, that we also offer, for the wider use of all of our clients. So I'm going to show you this automation here. Oh, I have a question. So here's a question here. So how do I set up the integration that pulls the data from Amazon sales, eBay sales, and your online store? So Jody, you can do that all within this scheduler. You can select which store you want to do the automation for. So I've got 2 stores here. So this is a Magento store. So let's say I want to download orders every 1 minute for the Magento store, and then let's say for my BigCommerce store here, let's say this is the eBay. I also want to download orders every 1 minute. So you're able to set up the automation for each particular store profile. So, you can do different things within that store profile. Now, if you are using, all of these stores within a multi-channel, I want to make sure all my quantity matches, then you have to make sure you engage the product scheduler, and make all the intervals for each store the same, because you want them all to be updated at the same time every 15 minutes. Thank you for that question. All right, these are great questions. Do I have any other questions? I'm getting toward the end of my presentation here. Oh, let me actually do the scheduler so I can show you the automation here. I'm not going to enable the product scheduler because it's going to do a lot of stuff, but it's going to do exactly what I have asked it to do at the terms of the automation. So I can do that here. So if I want to see, I can update any one of these I want. So I'm just going to show you the this area here. So I'm going to save it. Awesome. So here is the notification right there. So it says it has been started, and these are the notifications. They'll pop up periodically, and we can see No orders returned from the Magento store. And the scheduler also has been started for the BigCommerce store. So, and also no orders returned there. So I know now that I don't have any new orders in either one of my stores. And so, to also to further reiterate on that previous question, you can see the automation, depending whichever store that you have created the automation for. So ECC is definitely going to keep up with that. So you'll know in your Amazon, oh, 5 orders, and your eBay, oh, 6 orders, great. And then you can just toggle between the stores and view those new orders. So do I have any other questions? So now I'm going to go back into my slides, and I'm gonna close everything all up for you. So a brief summary of what I've gone over. ECC is able to, you can customize ECC for your client's online store, as well as it hits on that customization or those direct specifications within QuickBooks. Your clients can definitely streamline their order processing with our 1, 2, 3 steps, or ECC is able to kind of bend itself to whichever workflow they have already established. Your clients can process and generate shipping labels, post orders to QuickBooks as you saw as a particular transaction. Manage your products between your online store and your QuickBooks using the onboard product module. You can sync your inventory and price within that product module as well as within the scheduler, so you can do automation for that. You can manage ECC across multiple channels. If you've got those high volume clients who are selling on multiple sites, ECC can definitely accommodate them. And you can also have ECC for multiple users. So you can have multiple users within the Right Networks integration, as well as multiple users within the ECC integration. And the primary user can set the permissions for the add-on user within ECC. So just like Right Networks, you can decide exactly what your add-on user can see and do within the ECC integration. So, if you're new to Right Networks, if you've got clients that are new to Right Networks, right now I'm going to talk about some, client, scenarios. So for someone who's new to ECC, if they're trying out the trial for ECC and also they have Right Networks, they're going to have a hosted version of QuickBooks so that they'll just be able to utilize their QuickBooks. If you've got a current company file, or if they're using a current company file, they can connect to that too. And Right Networks will also load them a version of ECC. Now, if they're an existing customer to ECC, so if your client has been using ECC, or if you have a client that's using ECC and wants to look into the Right Networks integration, they can definitely do that. But there is an extra bit of data that Right Networks is going to need, so your client can pick up right where they left off within the Right Networks integration. And that is the current ECC database, this fourth item here. So that database stores not only the configuration, but also the activity that was previously done up until the backup of the ECC database, so before the Right Networks migration has happened. So once they have all of that, your client can just kind of pick up within Right Networks right where they left off within a native environment. So also some benefits to hosting ECC within Right Networks. I know we've got a lot of accountants. I got a lot of QuickBooks questions, which is great. So for you accountants, you have access. You can access QuickBooks from your clients and, keep track of the client financial data within this Right Networks' secure environment. So, no more, Dropboxing those company files back and forth, or if you've been doing that, I had a few customers doing that I suggested Right Networks to, and now it works great for them. And also, if your clients have off-site shipping departments, but you want them to utilize ECC, they can definitely do that, generate labels, communicate back to the online store and customers. And as well, as Bob and I both touched on, multiple users. So your multiple users can access not only their QuickBooks, but ECC anywhere and accommodate your growing business. So now we've reached the open forum to our questions. So if you have any questions, I know I do have one question here in the queue. So if you've got any more questions, feel free to ask them. Oh, I have a question here. Let's see. Does this integrate with QuickBooks Point of Sale? ECC itself integrates with Point of Sale, but within the Right Networks integration, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, ECC, you guys don't have a module quite yet for Point of Sale because it does involve hardware. Am I correct? Awesome. Thank you, Bob. Let's see, I got another question. Um, I have a question here from Tim, who is also located in SF, and he asks, "Can I visit your office sometime?" And the answer is yes. We love to have visitors at our office, and we've had quite a few visitors, clients that are using ECC and they visited our office. So we definitely like to meet users of ECC, users of Right Networks, and you're always welcome at our office, and we'd love to have you. Thank you for that question. If there are no more questions, it is 11 o'clock, which means this is the end of the webinar. I would like to thank everyone for your wonderful participation. And if you do have any follow-up questions when you receive that survey, just let us know if you'd like a call, or if you can ask any kind of follow-up question you have in that. You'll also be getting a call from either myself and the sales department if you want to become an affiliate of Webgility, and we can also address questions. So any additional questions if you have some questions after this time. So I definitely want to thank all of you, and I also want to thank Bob from Right Networks.
Thank you. No, and also if you do have any questions about how to get started with Webgility on Right Networks, just feel free to contact the sales department at Right Networks, and we'll be able to walk you through that process.
Yes. So thank you so much, Bob. Thank you so much to our participants and their great questions. And thank you all for attending this webinar. Bye bye.